Man, you guys missed a heck of a backstage pre-show. Head on over to our Patreon that doesn't exist, and you guys can hear. We got a new episode name before it even started. And by we, we're not French, but me, the voice you're hearing, it's Beard Laws. Joining me as always, Brandon J. McDermott is a little under the weather because, being a new dad and having multiple kids in the house, they tend to get you sick, those damn kids. And you've been whacking off. Dudes,
What up, dude?
I feel like we always say it's been a week, but it's been a week.
It was a long week for me. I know this is playing on Thursday, but last weekend, you work towards the weekend. The weekend is 2 days of fit. I'm not wearing pants. I'm going to eat terrible food, and I'm going to feel awful when I wake up tomorrow. Well, I had to do something last Saturday, so I had to be an MC of this gala. It was an amazing event. It was great. It was a lot of fun. But when I have to work the whole day leading up to it, I'm in work mindset. I don't care if it's from 6 to 8 at night I have to work. That whole morning is for me. And so I only had Sunday off, and then Sunday I'm having to do housework and clean up and help with the kids. And so there was no day off for me. So it's been like one continuous 12-day week is what it's felt like this week.
You did wear pants to the gala, right?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
That's a shame.
I did.
Mm-hmm. Well, a little less on the fundraising probably with that, but probably
for
better
me,
for
like,
your
the week-
paycheck to do that. But yeah, no, I feel you there, man. I mean, like I said, it's not really work for us, but being in a gym with basketball and softball, like I said, I've come to realize having kids, there are no days off. Kind of like I think probably an Under Armour ad at some point, no days off. I feel like that should be a parenting mindset, no days off, because we don't get them.
That I was gonna say, I used to look forward to the weekends. That was before my kids got so active in absolutely everything at their school. And then the athletic council reached out to me too, and they're like, "Hey, your son's joining T-ball this year, my youngest." And I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "We don't have a coach." And I was like, "Oh." I was like, "Well, I'm going to be there anyways for practice. I might as well, I guess, just be the coach." So, got signed up for that. So there goes a lot of the weekends now. It's spring into summer. Going to be the school's bitch once again.
Yeah. Yep. There it goes. Well, if you need any drills, hit me up. T-ball is, let's be honest, T-ball's rough. It's very rough, especially at that age. Are you getting hit with co-ed or just boys?
I don't even know yet. I think it was supposed to be boys, but I imagine if they don't have a lot of the girls, they'll intermingle.
Yeah, because they did co-ed T-ball in a lot of places up here, and it is tough to get their focus. So all I recommend is multiple drills. Hopefully you get a little bit of help and just keep them entertained, because next thing you know, little Billy's looking down, picking a grasshopper, picking a wedgie, then picking his nose. So you might as well be picking up a baseball, right?
I just, I hope I don't, I'm very competitive. So if I see a kid not running, I'm like, "Come on, let's," I don't want to scream to where I'm just very animated. I don't want it to come off as dude, is this guy screaming at a 4-year-old? A little bit of yes, but a lot of no.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to degrade the child any means, but do I want them to hustle to first? Absolutely.
And it's always fun when you get a couple of the kids that strike out hitting a ball off a tee.
I remember those days well.
You guys ever done the drunken T-ball?
Oh yeah,
That's
the dizzy bat.
Oh, the dizzy bat, yeah.
Yeah.
Chug a beer, do a little spin, and then try to swing a bat, and then run down the line, make a complete ass of yourself. Or as I like to say, third grade.
Hey, we actually had the bats where we would carve out them and have them full with beer. So you'd have to spin around so many times, then chug the beer out of the bat, then hit the ball, and then have to be able to run to first or something like that.
See, ours was a little different. We called ours Louisville Chugger, but it's very similar. But with us, we would take a can, and you would, however long it would take you to chug that beer, is how many rotations you would have to do with the bat on the ground. And so you would chug the beer, toss it to your friend who would be the pitcher, and then as they would count the rotations, you would get up, they would pitch it to you, and hope to God that they would give you a decent one. But then if you missed it, you would do it again until you hit it. So,
Wow.
Yeah, that was Louisville Chugger.
I like that. Thankfully, I think I'm officially old enough where I don't do the drinking games anymore. So, but I might have to pass that one along to the younger generations, because Good
So
time.
I got a question for you boys.
Mm-hmm.
This got me thinking.
Ooh.
When you were a kid, did you guys ever play Kill the Man? It was a game where one person held a football and everybody tried to tackle them. It was also called Smear
the Queer.
There we go. Okay, yes.
Okay. So there's several different names for the game. I'm sure, we're based on
Which
where
one's
you are.
more offensive these days? Kill the
Right.
Man or SMQ?
Yeah, right. So
Definitely SMQ, I would think.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's the one that we're not saying.
and the Kill the Man was short for Kill the Man with a ball. It was basically, hey, everybody go tackle him. And dude, it was rough. It was rough.
Yeah.
That was one of the funnest games
Yeah.
to play, though. I love that one. And then we called it, what was it, 3 Flies Up, I think, or something, where you just have one person who would just throw it up in the air, and you'd have like a cluster of kids, and whoever caught it 3 times could be the person that got to throw it or whatever.
So
that would get brutal, elbows and everything.
Did you guys play 500?
I was going to say
Or
that's what we did.
5,000 or whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
Yep. But it always sucked because it was like you get buddied up and then they'd start feeling like, oh, this guy's down. Okay, there's no way this guy 5,000 or 500. So it was like your one chance to get it. And all my friends were like 5'10" in like the 5th and 6th grade, so they beat the absolute out of me as a kid. And then they're all still pretty much 5'10" now. So then as I got older, I was able to catch up. But once you get a little bit older, you don't really play SMQ and 500 and stuff anymore. So it kind of sucks. Why weren't my genetics a little better?
How does it feel growing up kind of where, living as an adult basically in the town where you grew up? So like all your friends who you went to school with, for the most part, the people who stuck around you went to school with is what I'm getting at. Because for me, it's opposite. Like I've hopped around. I don't know none of these people, and I've got to know a lot of them, and I'm glad, I love the community I've lived in, the communities I've lived in, but it's a lot different when you're a transplant.
Yeah, see, I came up in like 6th grade, so I don't know anybody of like the original elementary school. Sure. But now, I mean, guys that I've graduated with, I mean, I still see and talk with a couple of them. Small town, like I probably got a good 5-6 buddies, and what I think is really cool is now we're at the age, not specifically me, but them and like my brother's kids, like they're all starting to play sports together. They all go to school, so it's kind of cool seeing 20 years later these kids all starting to play sports with each other and hang out with each other, and then kind of brings back, imagine what we were doing at this age, like we were ripping around on 4-wheelers and just raising hell, and now they're just like, you want to play Fortnite? And it's like, what are we doing?
That's exactly the same way. I moved here in the 6th grade and have been ever since, and same thing, playing sports and everything and just catching up with people. That's about the only time I usually see him. Otherwise, shopping or out and about. But we have the same conversations. We're like, man, remember just like being outside till like 9 p.m. and never having to worry of like getting kidnapped or anything like that. Like the street lights would just come on, and just didn't seem like it was as prevalent as it is now. But no, and I had the dynamic of I live out in the middle of nowhere, kind of like where you do, Matt, now. But previously I was in Las Vegas, so it was just a culture shock in general. I went from a whole bunch of people to like not having a neighbor, no diversity and everything. I was like, what? This is weird.
Dude, same thing. So I grew up pretty much in Syracuse, New York, which if you don't know New York, most people know Syracuse. And it was not the biggest city. I mean, it's not a Houston. It's not a Vegas. But like you said, diversity, different schools. There's always something to do. You're not really getting in trouble. Like you want to walk down to the golf course. I remember going through the woods and grabbing a bunch of golf balls, cleaning them up and selling them in front of the movie store to raise some money to be able to rent a video game or buy the family some dominoes or something like that. There was always something to do. Then you move up here and it just smells like cow. And they're all like, what do we do for fun? There's one bowling alley. Cool. What do you guys do? When you're 12, 13, 14. We work. What? Yeah, we work on the farm or we work at the greenhouse. So I started working at the greenhouse and I was like, nah, this whole working thing as a kid, nah, not really for me. But yeah, same thing, just boredom. And I like the fact that I grew up being able to be bored. Kids can't be bored now. They'll go, their cell phone's dead and this. I'm bored. And for some reason, that is a trigger to me because it's like, really? Okay, well, here's a list of things to do. See if you're still bored.
I was thinking a little bit, not exactly about this last night, and sure, maybe one of my my friendly gummies started kicking in. So it was one of those
Flintstones?
moments too. Yes, those
Scooby-Doo?
Flintstones, 10 million strong and growing. So I had to remember the saying. I had to sing the song in my head to remember the line. But I was having the thought to myself of how much slower it felt as a kid that time took, and how much it just goes faster as an adult. Like for me, a whole summer, month, a week, it was an eternity. I remember like the summer when I was 9 years old, the summer of '95, it felt like it was 2 years long, And nowadays, shit, we just blew through it's March 2nd, 2025. We're 1/6 through the year. And so
Man.
I know some of that is we're older. We're not in the mindset of being bored all the time. We're focused on stress and work and taking care of the kids and making sure we're fed and making sure this is done and that's done and the kids are here and we've got this thing to do. And all of a sudden it's like, you're 39 years old. You're staring down 40.
Now, do you think
like,
that
what happened to the last 20 years?
Now, do you think just life in general is faster now? Because I mean now it's like, all right, like getting ready in the morning. Next thing you know, you grab your phone and then it's like, oh man, there goes 20 minutes.
I think part of it is as we age, it's just the natural necessity of, like I explained, like being in the work mode and everything else. We don't have the imagination we did as a child, right? Some of the glow is gone, the youth is gone. We're adults now. We realize how life is. We know what at least we know what we want to spend our time doing that make us feel happy. So that's part of it, I think. The other part, I think there is a contribution for kids to not be in front of their screen every day, not be in front of, watching TV or watching YouTube videos or I'll be doom scrolling. My wife is doom scrolling and I look up and I go, honey, we got to put our phones down. This is awful. We can't do this. The kids are, so we all contribute to that. And I think some of it has to do with the kids also doing that. But yeah, are you kidding me? Kids have more toys than I've ever had in my life out there in that room, in that one room right there, not including any other room in this house, which has more toys. And they're 4 and 2, so it's getting there. But I've never said, go outside and go play. Don't come back till it's dark.
I'm fortunate that I've got a few older ones, and they are, but also addicted to electronics, unfortunately, and we have to establish some boundaries. And I know Matt had mentioned it too, of during dinner, and just been like, hey, absolutely not. Like, let's communicate. This is where we talk. This is where we catch up. This is family time. So we've been implementing that a little bit, and it seems to be working. And even my toddler, he's just like, as soon as he wakes up, he's like, hey, do you know what my iPad is? And I'm like, good God, man, go. Is there some Saturday morning cartoons or something that we can watch? Like, and I know it's a different generation, so their cartoons are right there on their devices. I don't know. It just seems.
Now, do you find
off.
your kids act like assholes when they're on it too long too?
Yeah, but I also feel like I was an asshole whenever I was playing Xbox at 13 and somebody came in to try to interrupt me.
Oh, of
You know what I mean?
But I mean, how many times did you rage quit over something? Video games, most of them were designed like the other day we busted out the Nintendo emulator. So we were playing. The oldest was like, "I want to play in Tecmo Bowl." I'm like, you don't want to? They're like, no, come on. So the middle one, sorry. And of course, destroy. I was like, you pick my team. Doesn't she pick Dallas? Because she's like, I know you don't like them. I'm like, thanks, kid. Dominate the game, right? And she goes, oh, that wasn't fun. Let's play Mario 3. I'm like, all right, cool. Like they do some impressive stuff on Fortnite and this and that, but watching a kid try to play Mario makes me feel so much better. Like they can't even get through a level half the time without dying. Hey, how'd you know that secret? How'd you know this? And I'm like, it was just learn. We didn't have the internet. We didn't have, cheats. We just randomly was doing something. Like I think one time when I found out in Mario 3 when you can hold down in the white thing, I think I set the controller down and it was on something and all of a sudden it went through and I went, what?
It is kind of weird, like how the word of mouth, like just between your buddies of playing these different games and stuff, are like, hey, did you know this? Did you know this? And you're like, oh, I can't wait to tell somebody else this. This is fantastic, and that's how we learned everything. But my kids are the same way. They like the old school games, and watching them struggle on those old school Mario games, or we play Mike Tyson's Punch Out, and they're like, Dad, how are you doing this? Or even Super Punch Out. They're like, how do you know when to duck? How do you know this? I'm like, muscle memory, baby. I was like, you don't forget this. This is like riding a bike, you know?
That's what I said. And what's even what I told them too, I said we didn't have like save points. So I've played Super Mario 3, the first like 4 or 5 levels to the castle and all that before the whistles, probably millions of times. Like it's probably gross if you were to put down if they actually recorded game time play because you couldn't just save it. I was like, you had to start fresh. You had to beat this level, this one, this one, this one. I was like, I can probably beat the first couple of levels with my eyes closed. Because like I can picture it right now, and I think anybody listening that's played enough can picture the first one in Super Mario 3. Go over, jump.
Oh, yes.
See,
the Tanuki. Go ahead, Brandon. Sorry.
So I just wanted to say, I remember so many games as a kid to where this plays into what you were talking about earlier, Matt. I remember one specific game. I was about 4 years old, so it wasn't me who was playing. My uncle and my dad were playing. But we stayed up because my uncles would come over and just get completely drunk. I felt like we stayed up for like 3 weeks, but it was probably like 2 or 3 nights playing Fester's Quest on regular Nintendo. That was if you ever look up a YouTube video for toughest games, that was one of the hardest games because it was one of those where you had 3 or 5 lives. There were no continues. You started back at the beginning when you died. And we played over and over and over until he finally beat it. And like, I will never pick up that game again just because I remember the stress I felt during that. Kids don't have that anymore, you know?
On mine, Donkey Kong. I remember playing that one religiously, and then all you would hear is just do 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 do. It was just a grandpa rocking on the chair with his little I forget what music device it is, and I'm like, God, it was like I was always like the railroad cart one that was always kind of a bitch, or the one where you were swimming with Diddy Kong.
Oh yeah,
they're gonna have to change Diddy. They're gonna have to change that. I just realized that. They're gonna have to change them.
They're gonna have to.
If we're changing things to be more PC, I'm sorry, Diddy Kong, you've got to go.
Was Diddy Kong before Diddy though? Because then maybe they should have sued. Maybe they should have went out of their way and been like, "Listen, Diddy, listen, I know you're P Diddy, but we are the OG Diddies."
Do you think Diddy called it the Diddy Dong?
Oh,
Jesus
100%.
Christ!
I'm gonna ask the internet what came first.
Oh, I'm pretty sure Diddy did. Ah, oh, dang.
Oh man.
Oh man.
So when you start to Google it, what came first, Diddy Kong or it says Mario Kart, Smash Bros, Ghost of Tsushima, Mario Racing, Mario Kart. Now P. That's how many asked P Diddy. Probably not a lot.
I just asked ChatGPT. Diddy Kong came first. Diddy Kong debuted as Donkey Kong Country '94. P. Diddy, Sean Combs, was already active in the music industry in the early 90s, but didn't adopt P. Diddy until 2001. Before that, he was Puff Daddy.
Yep. I was going to say in 94, he was still Puff Daddy. Yep. Interesting.
So it says, in the Battle of Diddy's, Diddy Kong wins by about 7 years.
Yes. Thank God. Dude, did you guys? I don't want to go into that old horse, but like the Diddy Kong Racing was also really good. I was a big fan of the Donkey Kong series.
Oh,
it was
great.
good.
It was
yeah,
fantastic.
no, it was, and that, yeah, like I said, having to start over. Not only video games, but even like a lot of our childhood games were so stressful and just triggered anxiety. That's probably why we have. I'm not. Maybe it's a conspiracy theory, maybe not, but maybe the government and my telling all of them were like, listen, we got to run. Let's go. 10 years of super high stress, anxiety driven things. Just to see how Big Pharma makes out on this. But I mean, you had Operation. What was the one that had the timer and you had to get the pieces out and then it went
Perfection.
Oh man,
that
was.
was.
I mean, how many timers and high stress situations, and maybe it was good, maybe it was bad. There's got to be a study out there. We should. You're gonna have to ask ChatGPT if there's a study, if they did it on purpose. I'm telling you, conspiracy theory. You're here to hear first.
So I've always I'm an older millennial, and I think you guys are either young Gen Xers or older millennials, correct? We've talked about this before, I think.
I don't know. I know we've talked about it a lot. I don't know the years of what things were. I was born in '85, so whatever that one is. I don't know.
You might be a millennial.
I don't know millennial, Gen Z, Gen X, Gen Alpha. I know some of the terms, but I don't know.
You might be a zennial.
I'm giving you, I just put it into ChatGPT, which, by the way, I have a note to say on this. Gen Xers is 1965 to 1980, millennials 81 to 96. So you're all millennials, and I take it. So my point is this is, I know Gen Xers believe themselves to be like the final generation where grandma and grandpa, mom and dad would like smoke in the car with the windows up, and like they see themselves as the final like tough, actual big. They're not. They're little bitches because they're the children of the boomers. Like, let's be real. As millennials, we're the final generation of understanding the world that existed before the internet, and the first real true generation that came of age with the internet, right? Because I didn't have the internet until I was 17, 18. And so like I got to experience, you know, like lit life without the internet. Blah, 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 blah. So I find that to be funny. Side note, ChatGPT last night, boys, I was telling you, we had a conversation a while back about this. You know, I took my book, PDF doc file of my book. You can attach files, you know, pictures and everything else to it. I attached it and I was like, give me a breakdown. What do you think about this? You know, knowing my past, knowing this and that. It broke down my book in like 7 seconds, dude. Like it was like, this is where you were good. Here's where I think you could have been stronger. I liked this, but this was what, you know, it's fucking nuts, dude. Like it took, what was it? 30? No, it was like 50,000 words in 7 seconds, and broke it down, and yeah, nuts.
It's unbelievable.
Speaking of getting a lot accomplished in 7 seconds, and you saying nuts, did you see that there's a study now that says that apparently the stress can be transferred in the sperm, and like there's a study going on right now with males. I think it's like 40 to 50. But they're doing this study to where apparently they're asking about like their stress levels whenever they were children and everything. And that can actually be passed on apparently through sperm. It's
What?
So they're testing sperm right now for stress levels. So, and I'm like, mine's got to be through the roof, dude.
So you're spot on. And I was talking to one of my therapists about this a couple of years ago, and it has been proven through some studies or whatever, and the more and more we do studies like this, we're finding more and more where it's happening in the application of it is that stress and trauma is transferred through DNA to the next generation. That's why you see generational issues in some generation. And I'm not going to sit here and speak on, you know, how I know and stuff, but what she brought up to me in specifics was certain demographics having more susceptibility to like alcoholism and stuff like that, and other problems. And so when you go through like war-torn refugee status, or you live through terrible genocidal, you know, maniac, despot, authoritarian leaders and stuff, you experience that as this next generation and the generation after to some extent. Like that's built into your DNA and who you are. So to hear that with what you're saying, Euban, makes perfect sense.
Let's see. Did you find something on it too, Matt, or is it?
Yeah, I was just apparently it's called epigenetics.
Yep.
I'm probably saying it wrong, but yeah, it's just like kind of like you said, when there's chronic stress and everything like that, the DNA goes, it starts to modify itself. So obviously, when you're doing this and you're passing down the genes and DNA and stuff to children, that modification of the DNA is being passed. It is wild.
My poor kids. No wonder they're so stressed out all the damn time too. They got just a fraction of what Dad's been dealing with.
Well, like I see my oldest daughter, and I'm like, why are you? I see her have these like, not nervous tics, but these like anxiety tics that I have sometimes. And I'm like, girl, you are 4 years old. I haven't passed that on to you. Like I've tried not to. And it's like, it doesn't matter. She's a part of you, right? She's going to experience what you experience. And that's why nowadays, instead of, you know, being like, shut up, I'm like, you know, hold my hand. We're going to take a big deep breath together because if I would have learned box breathing and breathing deeply as a young child, how much that would have helped me throughout life, right? And that doesn't solve all the problems. Don't get me wrong, but like at least to try to build that in this 4-year-old's mind of when you're in a stressful situation to stop, to breathe, and it will at least alleviate some of that stress.
No,
that's
absolutely.
important. So anyway, it's wild to me. This shit is nuts. when I am going through, you guys know all my past and stuff like that, and there's plenty of people who've had it worse. But I'm going through my past, and I'm thinking, I get to points where I'm thinking to myself, maybe I was too hard on my mom. Maybe my dad was right a little bit, like, and I'm kind of somewhat joking and stuff, but even a little bit of like, man, being a parent is hard, and you're not perfect, and in fact, you fail a lot. And you think of yourself as a terrible parent, and when they cry and they say things like, "You don't love me," and it's like, are you kidding me? Of course I love you. Just because I'm angry doesn't mean I don't love you. You're just not listening when I tell you to, pick up that donut that you dropped on the ground.
Yeah, and then,
guilt is
to
big.
us in that moment, the kids is like, that is like the biggest moment. Oh, I'm in so much trouble. And then all of us, we have that moment, and then we all sit back and we're like, God damn it. At least, I always feel like shit. Like, it wasn't that big of a deal. Like, but it's like, if I don't teach them that moment now, what happens when they're an adult in their own apartment, and then there's just donuts everywhere, half-chewed donuts just everywhere, and mice feet, you know what I mean? So like, it's a learning lesson. But I think us as parents, and I think we've talked about it before too, but we just, I don't know, we wear a lot of the stress on it, and we all have the moments where we're like, I should have handled that better. And I go to the kids and I tell them that, like, hey, I'm not sorry that I yelled at you, because let's be honest, you did kind of deserve it, but it really isn't that big of a deal. Like, I feel bad. I know you feel bad. Like, what do we do to move on? And they're all a little older now, so we can kind of have these conversations. But I know you were talking about books, and you were talking about trauma and all this stuff. I had this new goal this year is I wanted to start reading more, because they say reading is not only helps you fall asleep, but it helps with conversation and stuff like that. So I was like, shit, I don't know what to read. So the wife's always wanted a Kindle. So I was like, hey, let's get a Kindle so we can read a little bit before. We already paid for Kindle Unlimited, because the oldest kid is like a super book nerd, just loves to read. So I just randomly clicked like one of the best books out there, and it's this book called If You Tell by Greg Olson, and it's based on a true story. And the book is so disturbing and disgusting, but I can't put it down. And they leave you in short chapters without giving away. It's just kind of like generational stress of like, a mom was raising a really tough kid. I think the ma like passes away or something, and then this kid becomes older, and then this troubled kid started having kids and just manipulates and does some unfathomable, if that's even a word, things to kids, and then brings in other kids that need a house, brings in friends, and just, it is absolutely disgusting. And I don't know if you guys will read it, so I'm not going to give it away, but I mean, it is like, stuff from like making people like walk around the yard and do yard work naked to humiliate them, make them live in chicken coops, like disgusting things. And I'm like 30-40% through the book, and it's just like, what? I mean, just a complete piece of shit. And these kids and they went to school, they had every ability to say something, but they knew that they couldn't. I mean, they tried to run away. The mom would find them and beat them and embarrass them, like out in the middle of winter, getting hosed off, not allowed to shower, like just terrible shit. And it's like, God damn, like, I hope the oldest doesn't read that book, but at the same time, be like, you got it pretty good. Read this on a bad day when you think I'm a jerk, and you'll realize I'm not so bad. It's gross.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just crazy too. Just with we were talking about the anxiety with what the kids have. I don't know if it's. Do you guys seem like the anxiety in the next generations have increased, or are we just more aware of it? Because it seems like our parents just thought we were being weird. You know what I mean? What I mean?
I don't think there's one answer, right? I think there's so many contributing factors. I think, the people who say phones definitely play a big factor into it. Phones, technology, screen time, the lack of all of us coming together and having conversations and family get-togethers and Sunday dinners and even family dinners together. Most of us don't really do that a lot.
Yep.
I think that plays into it. I think also what plays into that is the idea that I just had a brain fart, and I think the edible's coming back.
And we're back, everybody. I think the internet bullying too. You know what I mean? Like when we were kids, we handled things. You learned how to deal with some stuff. Sometimes it got out of control. There was fighting. I feel like kids these days have to bottle everything up. I mean, you say the wrong thing in a school, you're kicked out or suspended.
No.
You get in a fight, holy shit, you're potentially going to jail. Like, you're not allowed to release these things in these kids. And I feel like they have to bottle it up. At least before you could, punch a kid, punch your brother, punch a hole in the wall, punch something, release it. And I'm not saying that's the right way to do it, but we had all had our ways to go out there. We're pissed off, we're riding our bike, we're outside throwing rocks, hitting this. Like, we all had ways to get rid of the anger. I don't know how these kids get rid of it now.
Yeah. So what I was going to say was, you remember when we were kids and you would hear this, oh, he's got ADD. He's got ADD. It was before ADHD, right? Some of it is chopped up to, what my point is that some of it's chopped up to, the more and more we hear these things, the more and more we try to self-diagnose and say, okay, well, maybe he's just got this and everybody else seems to have it. And so that goes to other things outside of ADD. But also, our parents didn't know what was going on. They didn't understand, the complexity of behavioral issues outside of the scope and the realm of ADD. Like, there's so many different types of behavioral issues and temperamental issues that these kids have that we experienced and we didn't realize. I have never been diagnosed. I'm sure the doctor would have a heyday trying to explain all this shit's wrong with me.
So I know what ADD is. I do it on my calculator.
I know that's what I'm afraid that if I ever did go to the doctor for any of that stuff, that my test would light up like a damn Christmas tree. I'm like,
and I know,
better to be
and I know in
unknown.
like chats and stuff, we make jokes of it now because that's the generation that we did. But I wouldn't be the person I am today if I was diagnosed with whatever I have. Whether I know for a fact it's some kind of terrible OCD, it's a little of this, a little of the one thing I wish they would have cared was probably that IBS. That's not a fun thing for me. But did you know though, and not to change gears, but I've been starting to like take vitamins because I'm like going through this weird midlife crisis. I'm 40. I'm trying to like be a little healthier so I can live longer. So I started looking into vitamins. Dude, I've been taking vitamins for like 3-4 weeks. My shits, my stomach problems. I was able to eat out twice this week and now I have to run in the bathroom and take a shit. Maybe that's all I was missing my whole life was a proper diet and some vitamins. Because we've talked about it. I mean, I grew up Domino's, chicken nuggies, like Pop-Tarts, ice cream, cookies, like not a lot of fruits and vegetables. And I was just like, I'm trying to do better with the kids, but I'm like,
So I was at the gala last night and I literally was, me, I'm always just trying to throw one-liners out there. Beautiful salad we're eating. I go, so this is what veggies taste like. This is good. Nobody laughed. Like, I was like, Jesus Christ.
That's what I hate too is, so I have like a extremely skinny friend that can just absolutely smash like a whole pizza, just anything he wants, And so if we ever go somewhere and we're, drinks are involved or we're smoking a little funny stuff and he orders a whole bunch of food, everyone's gonna be like, wow, he's really hungry. I could have 75% of what he has, and they see me much larger than him and go, oh, that fat is hungry. You know what I mean? I'm just like, what? I'm just like, okay, you guys. But my diet was the same thing as yours, Matt. Growing up, a lot of the unhealthy stuff. You guys have been seeing me. I've been chugging the water lately. Ooh. Again, trying to get better. I've been doing my roid rage gummies. That seems to be helping everything as well. The one thing I've not done is I need to do more vitamins. I've been taking my pills like good boys. Like, yeah.
I made the mistake of talking to somebody, and this isn't like to knock them or whatever. This is me just being me because I don't not the mistake. But when I talked to this person, they actually know vitamins and was like, well, if you need this, and they were breaking down some stuff that even after Googling, did I put it in ChatGPT as well? Yes. And I still couldn't make any goddamn sense of this. They're like, you should check out the methylene blue. And my brain went, I'm not getting on the meth. I don't care if it's methylene blue, whatever it is. And then it was like, you need an Guatemala something. And I'm like, what? And then I start looking at the prices of this shit. And I was like, there's not a goddamn chance in hell I'm spending $60 on 40 or 60 capsules or something like that. But the best recommendation he did, so if there is anybody that's still listening, or even for you guys, I downloaded this app called, I love the name of it, it's called SUPPCO, SUPPCO. It's got a little pill, like half blue, half purple, and I downloaded that. And then you can have things like, oh shit, I'm 40. So I was like, let's just get this protocol. And it tells you what a 40-year-old person should roughly be taking. And I was like, so then they tweaked it to what I'm taking, this and that, and then it gives you a score. And it says, I would recommend a little more this or a little less this, double this, add this. So like for me, I'm taking 8 different ones. I'm taking a probiotic that has 10 billion different something in it. I don't know. fish oil that's got like omega-3s and shit in it, magnesium, super B with vitamin C, vitamin D3, and zinc. Taking 8 different pills. They say it takes 3 to 4 weeks to feel, but like I'm telling you right now, I feel a little bit better. My brain's feeling a little bit better. My poops are better. Oh yeah, and Roid Rage in the gummies, 1 of those or 2 of those a day.
Damn. See,
How many
you know
how
what?
many milligrams of those?
They're all a little bit different. So here's like so this is what it does. I'll show you quickly on the app. So like this one, my score is a 64. Which shit, this bring me back to high school. But it's saying because I need some more nicotinamide monoglutamates. If I can't say it, I'm not putting it in my body yet. And I need a little less magnesium and some omega-3s. So like the products, so that it comes in here and it breaks them down.
If you can't say it, you're not putting it in your body. Can you say dick?
I can't. How's it said?
I'm being stupid. You were showing something, and I apologize.
Ricardo. Yeah.
No,
So
he
like
can
I
say
take
the short words.
Cardo.
No, I want to say dick. It was a short dick joke.
Dough. Car. Yeah, it's 10 billion of that probiotic. I take 2 ashwagandha gummies, which sounds pretty cool, and they're gummies. And but what I like about this too, it tells you like what it's good for, tells you all the stuff, and the reason that I think my score is a little different because you pick what your goals are. Like if you want to just be a little bit healthier, generic health, you want better moods, mind stability, shit like that. But it's I take 250 magnesium. I forget 500 vitamin C, 1,000 D3, 1,000 fish oil, 30 grams of zinc, and I can send that over to you guys after if you want. But I don't know. It was based on this and that. Of course, they always say consult a doctor and all this stuff. But I was like, I consulted some people that read into supplements and they work out and stuff. But my biggest fear, of course, like this dude broke it down. And like, because I was like, yeah, should I take it in the morning? Should I take it with food? And the app does say that too. And I was like, listen, I'm just a little bit nervous about taking, too much of this or whatever, and then having to like shit all day. And he's like, what? Nothing you're going to take is going to make you shit. And I'm like, really? He's like, yeah. He's like, why? Does just about everything make you shit? I'm like, yeah, except for like water.
Lucky you. I mean, even water was making me shit there for. I could just stare at something and be like, you got to shit.
I was like, yeah, I think I'm going to take a probiotic. And he's like, dude, you don't really need a probiotic, especially if you've been taking whatever. It's like, no, you don't understand. Like, I've never taken a vitamin in 40 years of my life. Like, I'm just starting. He goes, never. I go, back in the day, if I was starting to have a cold or something, my mom always said take a vitamin C to help with it. But other than that, nope. He goes, what kind of life are you living? I go, what? He's like, you've never taken vitamins or gotten on a thing. I'm like, no, I didn't know it was a thing. He's like, explain your diet. I was like, all right, well, now I'm eating 2 eggs in the morning, peanut butter and jelly for lunch, and then, I don't know, pizza or something for dinner. And he's like, huh. Yeah, you should probably get on some vitamins. He's like, you're not eating enough protein. You're not doing this. I was like, he's like, how are your levels at the doctor's? I'm like, I don't know. He says I'm good. He's like, I think you need a new doctor.
I know that's. I'm afraid too because like whenever I do go to the doctor, I'm always like, hey, so what's your diet typically consist of? You do, and I can always hear my wife too just go. And I'm like, stop it. I was like, don't pick on me. I was like, and so I have to be on. And then they're like, so when's the last time you had a vegetable? And I was like, probably like 2022. Now I've had like the side salads. The one thing I still can't. It's a texture thing. I still can't do corn, man. I've tried it again. They're like, butter it up, put some salt on it. I tried it on the cob, disgusting. Tried it, sweet corn, disgusting. Like it's all gross. The taste of it, nasty.
And it's funny. It's like if you want something to taste better, put some butter and salt on it. And it's like, isn't that the kind of defeating the point here? Like,
right. It's like whenever you see like, hey, it's like, hey, I'm eating a salad too. They're like, it's like 3 gallons of ranch with 2 pieces of like lettuce in it. So, like salad. But
or I want those mashed potatoes. Can you put a little extra gravy on it for me?
See, now I do like some carrots and a little bit of ranch. Like that's
okay. Not cooked.
No, just straight baby oil carrots from the fridge, just bada bing, bada boom.
Did you say baby oil carrots? Because that's what I heard.
Not ditty carrots. No, I'm not diddling the carrots over here. Some ranch. But, one thing that I did try, it's not bad. Celery and peanut butter.
Oh, yeah. Put a little raisins on there. What do they call those? Something with ants?
See,
excuse me. Hold on. Raisins? Go. yourself.
I mean, I'm not eating them, but I've seen people that take this. This is going to make me sound stupid, but if anybody knows me, I'm okay with that. I honestly didn't know this is the life that I grew up. I didn't know that people just ate celery. I thought that it only came with chicken wings. Like growing up, I never. We didn't go to the produce section when I was a kid, and we ordered a lot of chicken wings, and they'd be like celery, and my parents would be like, "No, we don't eat that shit. You want ranch? Nah." And I only thought, and I remember one time somebody like brought in a lunch or something because I was friends with people that ran track, and I'm like, "What do you got? Chicken wings or something for lunch?" And they're like, "No." I was like, "Where the hell did you get the celery then? Did your parents have chicken wings?" They're like, "No, I bought it, or we grew it in the garden, or I bought it from." I'm like, "You can just buy this stuff? I thought it only came with wings." And they're like, "Oh my god."
Bro, first time I had a bite of celery, I was like, "You are choosing to eat this shit? This is awful."
Yeah, and I think the stress of feeling like you need to eat healthy is worse for you than. I'm not saying like go eat a Big Mac every goddamn night over salads and shit like that, but as I still haven't done enough research in it, but there's a lot of stuff that isn't great for you that still isn't that bad for you. You know what I mean? Like there's a reason that NFL players are leading the way in Crustable sales.
Dude, my daughter swears by those damn things. I'm like, let me just make you a sandwich, and I will just get a cup and twist that son of a bitch on the bread, Uncrustable. There you go. And she's like, it's not the same. And I was like, your mother actually makes homemade jelly. You even said it tastes better, correct? She's like, oh yeah, that jelly's the shit. And I'm like, is it the peanut butter? I'll try 3 different peanut butters. I am getting cheap now. I've been buying like was it like the Members Mark peanut butter from like Sam's Club or whatever. Like I'm getting the big cheap peanut butter now. Man,
dude. I'm telling you, if you ever, and this is my opinion, these are. I say a friend of the show, but I buy the stuff. They don't pay us to say this, so I think we're most popular podcast. When they're telling you to go check out a brand, they're getting paid to say it. When we say Roid Rage, we try it, we eat them. They're not paying us to say this, but our peanut butter. Not only is it fun to say, fucking peanut butter. I still buy it. I just bought 3 more. I got the almond. Turns out the cashew isn't for me, but the wife loves it. I've never had cashew peanut butter, and there is a very big difference. And of course, most people I think would just take a little bit and try it. No, I made a full-on peanut butter and jelly sandwich with it, and I was like, yeah, this is much different. But that peanut, oh my god, is it goddamn good. And it just the taste. Now, does it defeat the purpose putting the very cheap Walfart brand jelly on it and the squeeze because I'm too lazy to get it? Probably, because the family yells at me, why is there so much peanut butter in the jelly? I don't know.
See, I don't
Apparently
ever
you're supposed to wipe it off first.
Well, I don't ever eat jelly. I just eat straight peanut butter sandwiches, and they dog on me all the time. They're like, ugh, there's no jelly in there? I was like, no, you can have a peanut butter sandwich without jelly. Like, you don't need the jelly, And they're like, no, you most definitely need the jelly. That's criminal. And I'm like, the fuck? I don't even toast my bread, then put some peanut butter on it, dip that stuff in a little bit of milk like it's a cookie. Oh my!
What's wrong with you?
Oh,
dipping bread in milk, dude.
Oh my god! I'm telling you, you have not. Just I'm not soaking it. I'm talking about just a little dip to where you bite into it. Milk's just it's kind of gay actually. Now that I say it out loud, let me just
Hey, when you grow up playing SMQ, baby, you eat PBJs dipped in milk.
Guess what? I was the Q eating those sandwiches. You know what? I'll be another one. I'll send you guys a picture of just this milk running down this face and me enjoying a toast. It's a toasted peanut butter sandwich is top notch. It's almost equivalent of me struggling and having those mayonnaise and mustard sandwiches. Dude.
Stop making fun of him, Henry. He's a normal boy.
The little shit's dipping his peanut butter sandwiches in milk.
I'm telling you, we're gonna start. We're stay out of the fridge. We're gonna start coming up with like a random, just whatever we eat. We're like, hey boys, have you ever tried this? You know what? And we're gonna try it. We got to try it each week, and then we're gonna ridicule you or like, hey, is this actually? I don't want to say. There's other people who do the snack stuff, but I was saying it's. Trying to think of a catchphrase, but is it edible or not? Edible and edibles?
Eating edibles, seeing if things are edible. I mean, that seems like a pretty good move. I mean, at the time that we do record, it is in between. Well, it would be brunch for me. I don't know what you guys would call it. I mean, 9-ish your time in the morning. It's a good time to eat some food. So, I mean, I mean,
Peanut butter
ChatGPT did
sandwich.
recommend at one point to say, hey, they would do a weird challenge where you would create something, and then the guys at one you guys rotate. So Euban says, all right, this is what we're trying, and you try. Or they said we should do a challenge where we take only things that we have in our fridge unprepared and try to make the best thing out of it. I'm like, well, we can't really make things. We're not in a kitchen, but
Yeah, we could always film in the kitchen, but my kids would be just running rampant is the thing. I'd have to create our own kitchen out here.
So on Amazon last week, it's funny you bring this up. I ordered a bunch of random crazy foods to try on the radio show this week, including hot dog flavored hard candy, hot chicken, fried chicken flavored hard candy, grubs like from Lion King that were cheddar cheese flavored.
oh, hey, nah.
Pink pajamas with penguins on the bottom.
I'm never going to unhear that now. Thank you. I appreciate it. That's my wife and kids are going to have something in their ear, in their head now. It's just going to be annoy the shit out of them today.
That's right.
Ordered a bunch of other foods. There was these like chocolate covered cherries that had Fireball in the middle.
Fireball.
And there was just a bunch of other random stuff that we're going to try in the show. Oh, chunky chicken noodle soup, ghost pepper chili.
Oh, that sounds that's the most appetizing of all of them so far.
So we're going to try some of these on the show, and I figured it'd be kind of fun. We also ordered that monkey gland sauce from South Africa, but it's not going to get here till April. Customs.
Yep. For those that don't know what that is, because obviously me and Euban have heard about that, what is the monkey gland sauce from South Africa?
So it's a South African sauce that's like barbecue sauce. It's a tomato and onion base is what it's.
What gland does it come from?
It doesn't. It doesn't.
Okay.
You would think it's from South Africa, monkey gland sauce that they're like taking monkeys and just like, but no, they're not.
If only somebody you knew could have delivered it by drone.
Right. 2 months? You kidding me? Would you send it on the Mayflower?
Oh my gosh.
If there's any kids listening, they don't know what that is.
No, they don't.
What's stupid? Just so I know we're just about out of time, but in your state, do you guys to graduate like high school, is there like a test system that you have to pass? Like in New York, that we have what's called Regents exams, and to graduate with a Regents diploma in the state of New York, you have to pass like an English and all this, like certain ones, or you're not eligible. You can still graduate, but you can't graduate with a Regents diploma. Do you guys have something like that?
No.
I don't think so. I know there's like certain requirements in high school in order to get a diploma. Like you have to have so much like history, so much whatever. But I don't know if there's a term for that, I guess.
Yeah, it was always a thing that was in New York. So a Regents diploma, it's a high school diploma earned by passing exams in New York. It's required. So you have to pass 5 Regents exams with a minimum score of 65 plus, 22 credits. All this bullshit. One's math, one's English, one's science, one's social to get it. Well, in 2027, they were like, we're good. We're going to get rid of it. And I'm like, so for like living in New York my whole life, I'm like, I just thought it was normal. Like you had to study your ass off. You had to take these extra, like you just had to do a bunch of shit. And it was just like, and then you had all these smarter kids, not necessarily book smart, but definitely much smarter, where they went to a trade school, still took the core classes, graduated with pretty much a profession already, and still a high school diploma. Well, you know what I mean? The other group that didn't go to the trade school had to take all these extra ones, and I'm like, son of a bitch. New York's finally probably getting equivalent to other states.
Those kids that took the vocational classes, dude, they were the smart ones for sure. They're like, hey, time for us to leave at like 10:45, and I'm like, and they're like, we're gonna stop by the gas station like we do every single day before we head to this other town to go to these schools. I'm like, and you have to swing by like the gas station and get snacks.
They're gonna get snacks. They're gonna have a smoke. They're gonna probably have a beer, throw in a chew, and I'm like,
should have been smarter, Euban.
I know, and everyone even said too. Like even the shop teacher kept giving me crap. He goes, "Look at those hands; they're really soft." I never became a hand model or nothing. They're still soft.
Hey, wait! Let's roll it back. Your wood teacher was commenting on the softness of your hands.
Small
How do you
town
think
stuff.
I got that A, bro? I can't do anything. Wait,
Well, he also got the A, I think, didn't he?
Hey.
Oh, I also had a D.
An A for an A.
It was an A for the D,
Oh.
but it was. We had like these ruler tests, and it was embarrassing because like I would make fun of like these one kids. I'm like, they're slow. Like those kids are definitely slow, and then they would get 100% in the ruler test, and I'm like, How did
Well,
you do
because you
that?
just put your dick on the ruler. That's not what the assignment was.
Dude, the confidence that I had on this ruler test every single time, I'm like, that's 3 and like 3/8. Even now, like when my father-in-law watches me get the tape measure out and everything, and I'm like counting like the lines, and he goes, Jesus Christ. And I'm like, yeah, I had to cheat my ruler test to pass in shop class. And he goes, I can tell. Yeah. He's like,
So
do you know?
they make the rulers now that have a digital output on top, and I actually bought it because like buy-in stuff for like older people, parents, grandparents, or something. They have everything. So I found him on, of all places, the TikTok shop before it was banned. For Christmas, I got the father-in-law and my father one, and of course my dad was like, "Show me how to use a goddamn thing." But it was just wherever it came out, it just had the nice disc because he's getting old as hell. He likes to do construction shit. He's like, "Oh, it's actually pretty handy."
I need to get. I have the one that has all of them like labeled now. Like it's very detailed. So whenever I get it, I'm like, I can say it with confidence. I'm like, bam, it's that. I think it gives me kind of like the, you sure? And I'm like, off guy, like I'm getting better with this, you know. And I have to pass this down on to my kid, and I know he's going to be as useless as I was, and I can't have that. He's got to do better than me. He's got to learn this stuff, pick up a trade, take care of his dad.
Or
You
I
know?
think it's nice though because you do it, you measure it, and then it's on the display. So when you walk back, you can still see what it is. Because not only does the measure, but by the time he walks over to cut something, and he's like, "What the hell was that again? God damn it!" Or and then he's writing it on this, and he's just drawing. Then he can't read his writing, and then I told him wrong, and it's just I'm like, "There's it is, there it is. Bring it over, cut it, shoot, shoot." Like, hey, work smarter, not harder. They said, just like measure twice, cut once.
So you ever had that moment in school where you're looking around and you're like, where's that slow kid here? There's got another one over here too. You look up at the teacher and she sees you counting slow kids, and you come to the realization that you two are in the nice class now.
Yeah. I used to always get like those backhanded compliments every time that I would do really well in a test. They're like, "Hey, look at you! Like you did it. We knew you could and everything." And I'm like,
You wrote your name.
pretty much. And I'm just kind of like, "Hey, wait a minute." And I'm like, everyone seemed to do well here. Why are you pointing me out? Like, what? Even I did good? Is that what you're saying right now? Like, hey, you.
No, it's worse.
Give Mrs. Johnson.
This one time I got put into the highest level math class, and I wasn't the smart kid, but I looked around and I was like, "Oh, that's good." They got it was everybody that had like 95 plus averages in school, and I was sitting there. So we go through the test, and all of a sudden the teacher was awesome. He's just like, "Hey, we got to do something," and he's like, "Listen, there's been some lower test scores in here," and all the nerds were like, "So we're gonna have to partner up." And Matt, why don't you pick the first partner? And there was like a girl like 99. I was like, her. I was like, all right. And then it got to the point where we're gonna switch partners every week. And he goes, I'm doing the partner thing for you, right? And I go, yeah, it's pretty obvious. So we do the final, and I got like 13 on the final. And he goes, how did you get this? Like, you tried. I'm like, I don't understand what any of this shit means. And he's like, okay, hold on. He goes, let's do this. And next thing you know, he's doing all this math. He goes, dude, you did a pretty good job because you showed up. And he goes, you got a 65. Like, congratulations. I'm like, yes. So I passed, and I was like, what'd everybody else get? He goes, the lowest other score was a 92. He goes, so I took the averages of all of them and did this. And I'm like, so I got a 65. He goes, just up a little bit from your 13.
Graded on a curve, baby.
Tried so hard, dude. And I felt good about it. I like strutted up like, boom, passes. And he was just like, 13. Dude, he goes, you should have just not taken it.
Just don't even show up. Well, I get in trouble all the time too because like my wife will be like, hey, she'll talk to the kid. She'll be like, you got an 82 on this test? And I'm like, what's up? And she's like, no, what, why are you trying to high five? And even the kids are laughing at me, and I'm like, 82s aren't good anymore? Like that's passing. And my wife was like, no. She's like, they're getting my grades in school, not yours. And I'm like, first of all, you. I'm like, but also, that's probably a good idea, actually. Yeah. But I was full on. I was super excited. I was like, whoa, 82, baby. And they're like,
yeah.
No.
I remember having you guys take SATs. Like, that's a thing, right? Everywhere?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I didn't know that, and in order to go play baseball at this one school, apparently my guidance counselor was like, "You don't really need them." Turns out I really did need them, so like I'm on the very last one to take them. My buddy, he's like, "I was told I got to take this goddamn thing too," and he's like, "I'm going to lineman school. I don't get why I need this shit." So he gets down there, and we're starting to take it, and the lady's like, and apparently you're supposed to take like prep classes and all this stuff, and we just went to it, and they're like, "All right, so for the next 3 hours," he goes, 3 hours? What? Or whatever the time was. He goes like, ah. So he's like reading the first one. And finally he goes, fuck this. And just gets up, breaks his pencil, rips the papers up and walks out. He's like, good luck with this, you nerds. And leaves. Dude makes easy 6 figures. Just, you're not saying just, but like he's out on storm. He's saving the day, getting everybody power and stuff. Didn't need any of that shit.
Listen, this whole thing that we needed college jammed down our throat was a complete and utter bullshit. I've got, and people are going to laugh, but I've got student loans that I need to pay off, and they'll be paid off in like a year. But the fact that we were all pushed to go to college, it was just it was so unnecessary for my experience being in radio, being a journalist. I didn't need college. Needed college to learn how to write, but you know how you become a better writer? You write. You write. You read. Yep. That's how you become a better writer.
And everywhere, at least in this state, it's like your first 2 years, all they do is push general ed shit anyways. And to bring it full circle, because I know we got to get out of here, it's Mitel's fault. They pushed the games, then Mitel pushed college. And I think there's a whole conspiracy theory we're going to unlock with the help of AI about how they ruined our childhood. Sons of bitches, big farm.
Yeah, I went to college for a solid 2.5 months, baby.
Woo!
Yeah, I did it.
I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you guys. And I'm proud to whoever. This was a roller coaster of an emotion. This was like an emotional roller coaster episode. I loved it. Some serious stuff, some funny stuff, some Diddy talk, some video game talk. There was everything in this one.
You're wearing Biggie Smalls when we're talking about Diddy? Didn't even realize that either.
Yeah, one of the kids got me this for Christmas because we named our big dog Biggie. And every time I see him, I'm like, Biggie Smalls is the wickedest, or I'll sing something.
Why? Like the top part of it though, every time it cuts out, it's like, is it Bernie Mac or is it Biggie Smalls? So that definitely, but like from like Bernie Mac right there,
racist.
100%.
Yeah,
they all don't look alike. I'm just.
he's doing the new age kiss face.
It was all a dream.
If I remember, I'm going to try an instrumental, royalty-free Biggie song to take us out. So that's all I got. Appreciate you boys, and anybody listening, we'll be back next week with maybe some food. That's some crazy creations. 98% chance that we will forget to do that. So we'll just be back and we'll do our thing. So that's all we got. See you guys next week. Be good to your wieners. Bye-bye.
Knock, who's there? It's the podcast you adore. Stay out of my fridge. We're back, ready to explore. Got a tale to tell, gonna make you laugh, gonna make you smile. So buckle up tight, it's gonna be a wild ride. We're diving deep into your fridge where secrets hide.